I just yeah.
That's fine. People think that we use a chair as a symbol. That's why just with blood all over it.
In the years since, Martine has embraced life in a brand new way, throwing herself at every new opportunity, and this mindset is what led her to the Paralympics.
I went to a Paralympic Potential Day, which was in the guise of called the Amputee Games. Tried fencing and basketball and tennis and archery and sitting volleyball. People think that we use a chair as sitting volleyball. We don't use any wheelchair. We use our bottoms and we use the floor and that's it. And we use our hands and legs. So that was quite liberating.
Martine, a symbol of the human will to overcome and the unbreakable spirit Paralympians across the world carry wisdom.
I'll be talking a bit about her history. Martine Wright is a 39-year-old, which was one of the 52 on the 7th of July 2005 was a victim of the 7/7 bombings. She survived the terrorist attacks, however she remained 10 days in coma. Her life was saved, but both of her legs had to be amputated. Having graduated in the University of East London in psychology and communication skills, she knew that she couldn't carry on with her previous lifestyle, so she quit her job. Martine Wright always kept in mind that she had a choice to carry on and live her life. 52 didn't have it that day. She learned how to walk again with the help and support of her prosthetic legs, but admitted it was one of the hardest things that she had to do throughout her life, but this didn't stop her. She learned how to fly aircrafts in 6 weeks. She got married and fell pregnant and had a son called Oscar. And the most unexpected of all, she determined that she would compete for Great Britain as a Paralympian. I will pass it to Martine.
The main traits and characteristics we say she has is that she's a strong believer, inspirational and a role model. This is quite evident on her Twitter page, as a lot of her fans have tweeted saying that she's inspired them in their life. She's also been awarded for Vitalised Woman of Achievement. This is because she's represented Great Britain in the Paralympics. She also campaigns for compensation for the 7/7 victims, and she's ambassador for disability sport. Also, she's a team player because she's the vice captain, so she has to build confidence and she's quite dependable. She's also quite self-confident because she articulates her goals and she has unquestioning acceptance. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Aisha.
I will talk about these three main theories that go to Martine Wright. When it comes from a house coming from transformational leadership, she came from being a marketing manager in a business, and trauma happened to her and literally transformed from that day, becoming an inspiration to everyone, from a lady to a kid who's 6 years old. The awareness that she's made has been dramatically. That's why she's also going to be nominated next year for Gifted and Talented. There's also changing the focus as an individual, as she takes each day as a gift to her, as she felt that she could have died. Another way of some people being a leader that also turn to God, which is a good example of the poet and good faith people. Go to theory 2, the congestive theory. The framework is more like leadership, relationship, motivated people, and task motivated, reaching your goal. The way this links to our inspirational leader is that she does emotional speeches to her people, making them say that they can go through anything. She also, with her gender, she's not so much on one gender side as well. Therefore, that's how she communicates with everyone and stuff like that. With her style, she talks, she goes, visits people, she sees homeless people who suffering from cancer, people who are not infertile, and showing everyone that they can do something with their life. Another way that she writes in her autobiography is how it was, she felt she didn't want to have kids and cut the side of a mutual relationship, but decided that she might as well go on with life because every day is a gift, as she says in her book. The last theory I'll talk about is the leadership. This is the reason because she acts unique, and everyone in Britain literally looks up to her as well. Even though she is one of the, even though sadly she didn't win nothing in the Olympics, it also shows her determination and never to give up. People always look up to her and everything like that because what she's been through, she had every reason of not deciding not to go, not to do anything and just sit down and laugh like, okay then, let's go, let's have a drink of tea and something like that. But from that, I would like to say that all my references from this is from her autobiography and her journal that she has written, and I'll now pass on to my other colleague.
Sorry, she said that, but I just didn't get to that. So now we're going to talk about the theories that link to Martine Wright. There's 3 particular theories that we've been able to come up with that go with her characteristics, personality, and behaviour. The first one is the great man's theory. This suggests that leaders are born and not made. It also suggests that great leaders can arise when there's a need for them, which we can see with Martine Wright. After the 77 Bolivians, she was able to arise as a great leader. In the past, leadership, as we've all been taught, was linked to just men, so hence the name great man's theory. In the latter days, when women became leaders, it then changed to the great person's theory. So I'm going to read a quote that kind of goes in terms of the definition for the great man's theory from Northhouse. He says that the great man's theory is a hero who accomplishes goals against all odds for his followers. And again, we can link this to Martine Wright. Despite everything that happened, she then decided that, do you know what, I'm going to accomplish my goals, I'm going to make a difference, and that's what she did. Which again shows her tenacity and dedication. The next skill I'm going to talk about is the 3 skills approach, which contains technical, human, and conceptual. This suggests a leader has somewhat of a part of all 3 skills, or equal abilities in all 3. Martine Wright has a vast knowledge of her role. As my colleague Daljinka said, she was the vice captain of her team just after 2 years of the team being involved. So this again shows her technical skills of this approach. I mean, you won't be a vice captain unless you know in depth what you're doing. She then did inspirational talks, which again shows her human skills in terms of the leadership. The last one is the situational leadership theory, which suggests that leaders adapt to situations and environments. We see this again in Martine Wright. She was able to adapt to the different situations that she had to go through, and again, it just basically sums her up in terms of the theories and herself.
I'm going to be talking about what businesses can learn from Martine Wright. So the principles and values that have been portrayed in the Olympic sports can be applied to leadership and development in business as well. This often focuses on cultivating high levels of individual and team motivation, commitment and effective communication. Martine Wright not only inspires us, but she teaches us how to deal with change. In business, it's important when undergoing change that you have the right people involved to push the business further. The secret to Martine's success is that she surrounded herself with the right people, like her family and friends. Her leadership came from her medical team, as well as the friendship and support she had from her teammates, because they understood the challenging journey she was on. Leaders in business need to be driven by the same... Being inspired by another human being is a powerful emotion, which, as we've seen with Martine Wright, can lead to high levels of excitement and engagement. Leaders in business need to be driven by this same emotion. As we can learn from Martine, most leaders have to stay focused enough to inspire their employees whilst being challenged in the business environment. The last lesson we can learn from Martine Wright is that even though we come through challenges, this pushes us to succeed further in life. Thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions,